So we're back. I hope people come in and get in here again, and we'll see what we can do. But, I have no idea what's going on, everybody. I mean, it's a beautiful day out here. This is one of the most beautiful days we've had in a long, long time. And hey, Jeffrey, good to see you come back again. But I'm going to just talk a little bit here, Jeffrey, and give people a chance to come on. Hey, Vicky, but I have no clue what happened there. It is what it is. Hey, Bill, good to see you back again. Because I'm gonna get up and get a little bit to drink real quick. My throat is a little uh, dry. I'm gonna go in and get something to drink while people are coming back on. Hi, John. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. We got 20 people here. We'll get going. But anyway, I was talking about patriotism and that, and I wear a lot of red, white, and blue. I wear my hat here. I have other hats, but I wanted to talk about real briefly a little story before I get more back into what I was talking about is in the town that I graduated high school, Herscher, Illinois, they have a huge festivity on Labor Day. And my family has been going to Herscher to Labor Day since I can remember. We go to the parade on Monday, and it used to just be a Monday thing, but it was a great thing. It was always ended with fireworks, and then you went home, you jumped in the shower or the bathtub real quick, you got in bed, and you got ready for school the next day. Well, now they've turned it into a 3-day event. And I went over to the beer tent on Saturday night, and I've never seen so many people at this place. I mean, I talked to some of the people that was working there today when I was over there. I talked to them and they said we we had just unbelievable sales, but they don't just take the money for your beer and whatever you want to drink, have food outside that you can go and buy. They really set it up where they provide entertainment, and they had a band. And it was just a local band that hi Janet. It was just a local band, but they were really good. And I got talking to my daughter about it, and it was the same band that they had in their town when they had their festivities a little while back. And this band played everything. It did everything. It did Buddy Holly, it did the Bopper, it did Richie Valens back in the 50s. It did the Beach Boys, it did other 60s music. It played some Ozzy Osbourne, it played some Journey, uh, played the song Lady in Red, it played Don't Stop Believing. And I mean, it was really, I mean, I ended up leaving there at quarter after 10, but just to listen to the band, I could have stayed and listened to it till it ended, but I don't leave my little dog that long and wanted to get home to her, but it was really amazing. And then today it was more relaxed. You could see people, you could talk to them. They had a softball tournament going on, but still, they brought another band in to play today. Yesterday, last night, I didn't go over there, but they brought a band in that was doing a tribute to the Eagles. So, I mean, it's a really nice time and we have a lot of fun. And I really this year wanted my kids and my grandkids to actually just kind of be over there. I met with my brother over there the two times I went over, and I seen Ella. I don't see she come back on now, but she was over there today. I got to see her and her mom and my son. All my grandkids were there, but then they kind of went, as the song said, they went their own way. But what we were talking about is don't get to the don't get don't come this far without going further. And that's so true. But before we go any further, I do have to make an announcement, guys. Abby, I believe her last name is Normal, Normal. If you know Abby, she follows us. She's followed us for a long time. She's a good friend of Ron's, and Abby is a woman that when I started to talk about these concerts, these people playing in a band, Abby loves to go to concerts. But Abby is going to go into the hospital to have herself. Okay, she's got to go to the doctor tomorrow to see when she's going to have surgery. But keep her in your prayers because I'm not going to say what's wrong with her because I don't have her permission to say it. But what Ron told me, it's not good. She's a young lady. She's a very beautiful woman, inside and out. And just keep her in your prayers, please. And, I was having a really good weekend. I mean, I prayed so much to God to keep everybody safe. And then just before the show today, or a little bit while ago, Ron told me about this. And, you know, this doesn't matter what you do and how much fun you have. When something like that happens to someone and even if it doesn't happen to someone now, I want to tell you, you know, in sports, and I talk sports a lot, but in sports, I'm a Chicago White Sox fan. People tell me I'm crazy because they're no good, they're this and that. But you know what? An organization that yesterday they give hats away to the first 15,000 people that went to the game for cancer. That had that little cancer thing on the hat. But they didn't stop there. They didn't pretend to be interested in helping fighting cancer. They had a bill that they put out. I think it was center field. And they had cancer survivors who just got their last treatment that was cured of cancer. These kids, they were kids. They got to ring the bell in front of all these. There was 28,000 people there yesterday. I'm telling you, when you see something like that, I don't care who you are. If you don't get a little choked up, get a tear in your eye, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. But see, what upsets me, what upsets me is now Ron says these kids will make these magical beds, these miracle beds. But see, what upsets me is why the heck aren't they on that now? Why aren't all these kids that have that on? I don't care if they're trying to hide it or not. Do you think do you think of all these kids that's in St. Jude's and all these that are struggling to live? Do you think of that goes into St. Jude's and they get each one of these kids off on these beds and they make it, but they tell the people, the parents, you can't tell people how they did it. You don't think that these people are going to keep it quiet? And why are we letting kids suffer and struggle and be in pain and losing some of them when we don't have to? These beds have been hid by the bad people so they can use them and them only for so long. But what are we doing now? They're available. My brother in law, 15, 16 months ago, lost his life to cancer. Why? No matter when we get this stuff or not, no matter how much I care for the president of our country and how much I believe in him, he could have saved my brother-in-law. And that's what's going to be when we say we're going to go to this times where they're going to get a message and you got 5 hours to be home, and then we're going to have this shutdown for what, 10 days. Now, Bruce is saying we'll have it for 10 days, but that's going to be a good time that maybe we could get in to do our redemptions. at the redemption centers, get our currencies. Because see, people are going to be occupied. You want to occupy people? You don't want them to notice you. All of a sudden, you don't want to notice that Ron and Ralph Anderson got rich. You don't want them to notice that John got rich, or Ian got rich, or Beth Shaw got rich. You don't want to notice that Janice has more money and she's doing more things. Then give everybody some money. And see, that was supposed to happen today. Once again, guys, and I'm not cutting anybody down, but I don't get excited anymore when someone tells me something. I checked my bank account and there's no extra money in there. And we were promised by the hat. I seen him on 5 different occasions promise that on today we would get money, and we're not getting it. He's out golfing probably. He's eating whatever he wants to eat while we struggle. Ron says he's at McDonald's eating. Oh, speaking of McDonald's, have you seen the little video that's out? People are sitting at the table eating their fries, and there's this little emoji type deal. And he's sitting there, and all of a sudden he goes, and a fry comes out, and a fry comes out. And these people are eating, and then they're picking these fries up and putting them in these people's bowls. Pretty hilarious. But no, I believe 100% in the bets. I do. And I was talking about what the White Sox did for these kids. And I really believe every major league baseball team, every sport, everything should do this. Because I don't care how many billions of dollars, if you follow football, if you follow football, the Dallas Cowboys just made a trade to the Green Bay Packers. They traded their best player, their best defensive player. Some people say he's the best defensive player in football. My thing is he missed 6 of 17 games last year. But yet, when they got traded to the Green Bay Packers, they give him $45 million a year, $180 million for 4 years. They're paying a quarterback $55 million. So when people say, oh, Green Bay is going to be a juggernaut, they're going to be the great. And I got in an argument with my brother and my nephew over today at the festivities. How are they going to fill their team around them? There's a salary cap. There's a salary cap, and you're paying 2 players $100 million. Oh, people's got Green Bay in a Super Bowl already, and I don't like Green Bay, but I don't think they're that good. I think this guy's going to be good, but see, I don't think they have the defense. If this guy is so good, why is Dallas not made the playoffs for 3 years? He's been in the league, I think, 4 years or 5 years, and they made the playoffs once or twice. So that's my question. But that's just getting off track. But we do have a few things here. Uh, Biomed report, October 17th, 1972. Biomedically Research Division /file number 212 confidential, and official NASA reports reveal that technology similar to special beds was tested on astronauts during the simulations for the long-term space missions. Excerpt from the document. The prototype demonstrated the ability to regenerate muscle and bone tissue in under 48 hours. This could allow human presence on the moon and Mars without the risk of permanent damage. The report was marked confidential and never published in scientific journals. Months later, the project was closed under the official exclamation of being not sufficiently relevant. Officially, these tests never happened. Unofficially, it was the first attempt to apply the special beds technology as a tool for space missions. On another thing, CBI confirms the Ragnar RV $3.81 IQD $1 dong game changer for investors. I would have to play it to see what they actually have here, but
Speculation has been heating up, but now it's time to put those theories to
no,
rest. Guess what?
I don't want to guess. Uh, thought I had something here to read, but see where I hit do. I don't have a whole lot, but huh? But oh, here's something else about the beds. Special beds as the end game. There are technologies that could change the game, but special beds, the one that flips the entire board. If disease disappears, the pharmaceutical industry collapses. If there are no chronic patients, insurance companies vanish. If people live 120 years in health fear based control systems lose power, that is why special beds were hidden for so long. They are not just medical devices, they are the symbol of the end of the old era. And once these chambers become available to everyone, the curtain falls. The system thrives at our pain, and debt will finally die. Now, if you want to have some fun, get in a group of people and start talking to them about this. But don't get in and talk about these beds, what you know about them. Know where you can go and get the research and that you can show it right to the people. Because last night or Saturday night, I was talking to some people. And when I found out who the young lady I was talking to was, she told me she was the daughter in law, Brett. And I said, oh. And I looked at her. And now, please note, I had had a few pops in the beer tent. You know what I mean? I was feeling a couple of oats or two. And when she started talking to me about Brett, Brett is a young man I've talked to about in several shows who lost his arm about right here. Matter of fact, I had a very good talk with him today. And she says, I love my father in law. It's a shame that he had to go through what he did. And I said, but we're going to fix that. And she looked at me like I was really, really crazy. And you ever get them looks? Bill Woods, One Voice, Janet, Gary, Jeffrey, Papa G. When you go out and you say something and people have no clue what you're talking about, did you ever get that look for them like, boy, you're crazier than crazy can be? And I love it when I get it because, see, because I looked at her and I said, yeah, we're going to fix that arm. No, you're not. I said, well, let me tell you something. You know, the human body never forgets a body part. And she goes, I didn't know that. I said, never forget it. How are you going to fix it? And I said, we're going to regrow it. And she looked at me and she goes, cut him off. He's had too much. And I said, now, I'm glad you said it because I want to show you something. I took my phone. I did a little Google search there and I said, you want to read this? And she started reading it and she read it and she read it. And I said, can I have my phone back? No, I want to read more about this. And she looked at her husband and she says, this guy's going to help get your dad's arm back. And he goes, you're crazier than he is. So we had him read it. So today I talked to the guy that lost the arm and he said, can I see what you said? What you have? And I showed him. And he looked at me and said, you've been telling me this for a while. I said, look, I have no control over when the hat releases them. But these three people, to see the smile on their face of what's going to happen for him. Now, I mentioned Grandma Bo a little bit ago. And Grandma Bo has a great granddaughter. It's my son in law's niece. And this little girl has went through like 20 some surgeries. They was even talking about doing one that she would have no legs no more. And at the little monkey's birthday party here a while back, I sit down and I talk to him. And this mother is looking at me like, how much has he had to drink? And I said, to be honest with you, this is the first fruit pop I've had. Why are you saying stuff like this? And Grandma Bo looked and said, listen to him. He knows what he's talking about. Guys, if you can just get people just to let you talk about it, and then you can bring out the proof, you know, it's all over the internet. And when you can bring out the proof and then you can show them pictures of the beds, they're flabbergasted. Wear your red, white, and blue. Be a patriot. One of my best friends of all time. I met him the other night. I thought he got hurt. I thought he was in a wheelchair. And when I found out it wasn't him, it made me so happy. But his wife did. See, you see what I got on? See this? Make America great again. I think we need to get hats made up. Make America the greatest again. But there's nothing on that hat that says anything about the hat. His name, 45, 47, whatever. And she literally was rude to the fact that she started cussing me. I mean, there's thousands of people there. There's going to be 4 or 5,000 people at that beer tent the other night. There was people standing on people. I swear, there was a lot. And she started cussing me out. And her husband said, "What are you cussing my friend out for?" I don't believe in, she mentioned the man's name. And he says, "Well, he's not promoting the man. He loves his country." And I said, "Don't you love the United States? Don't you want to make America great again?" "No, I don't." I said, "Well, I heard that there's a bunch of these women that from the View and all these other people, they're leaving. You could probably get on the same boat with them." Because me, I don't want people. And what's really sad, what's really sad about certain things is we have illegals that come in. We have really bad illegals, and that's why we have to put a stop to them coming in illegally. But we have some illegals come in that they love the country more than some of the people that live in this country love the country. They want to live here. They just think it's the greatest place in the world. But you got to do things right. But see, we also have to come up with a system. If we're going to allow someone to come in, we don't need to charge them a ton of money. They come in, they get a job. In a few years, they can apply for citizenship. We need to make this country the greatest country in the world again. And I will wear my red, white, and blue, and I will let people threaten me, and I will let people get mad at me. I don't care because I'm proud to be an American. Let's see what Judy's got to say.
Yeah, it's almost done from 8 o'clock.
This is from Judy for today, September 1st. Can you believe it? One voice, can you believe Jeffrey Papa G? Can you believe it's already September? See, now in the Ukraine, when it's September 1st, that starts their fall. It's no longer summer in the Ukraine.
Is it in the what? They start getting snow.
On Saturday, 30th August 2025, President the Hat signed military arrest warrants against Hussein Obi, Crazy Hillary, and 73 senior deep state officials, all charged with high treason. Now, isn't that amazing? He signed these on what day was it? Let me look. He signed these yesterday. No, Saturday. He signed them Saturday. 75 high rank officials. And not one thing was said on mainstream media news. What do you think when Husan goes down? Because they say the first arrest is going to shock the world. I think it's going to be two. I think they're going to do a double play there. I think they're going to do uh, the O'Hill, Ari, and Husan. Also on Saturday, it was said that in an interview on Fox News, President the Hat announced that the Big N, Big G reset was in motion, and by January 2026, the Big N, Big G gold coin would be the official U.S. currency. On January 1, 2026, the global financial system will be dead, and the fiat US dollar, euro. And when I read that, it just puts a pain in my rear end. Because are they saying now that we're really not going to do anything? Or are they just going to make sure that everything is 100% implemented by then? Because when you stop and think about it, guys, we got September, October, November, December. 30 days this month, 31, 30, 31. 62 and 60, 122, and one of them's already gone to get to there. And for all of us that's been on this long ride, this long journey, do I want it to go that far? No. I hope that they give us something. Put us on the beds before that. You know, uh, get some money in people's pockets. Get people, don't let people face living outside in the winter again this year. And we have to do stuff like that. Then it talks about Judy speaking in that Foundation Expo Friday, September 5th at 9 from 9 to 9:50, part 1, and then the next day from 1:10 till 2 for part 2. Yeah, that's nothing. How has launched the Emergency Economic Restoration Plan on August 28th. Integration of Starlink, the quantum financial system, and the stellar blockchain was completed. The Big G is being deployed. Debt cancellation, sovereign finance, restoration of lawful governments. 42 nations have signed compliance treaties. Those resisting are now facing military pressures, um, banking shutdowns, and engineer collapse. The Big G will end fiat slavery, IRS theft, and central bank domination. Uh, the IRS is a criminal enterprise. The 16th Amendment was never ratified. 330 trillion stolen from U.S. taxpayers. Federalized National Guards were cleaning up crime in 19 states. They started with Washington, D.C. and Chicago, Illinois. Now we're moving on